All right, picture this, a predator standing almost 10 feet tall. It chases down its prey on two legs, and then, with a single blow of its head, it's over. And get this, it's not a dinosaur. It was a bird. Yeah, a bird. Today, we're diving into the absolutely incredible reign of the Forus racidae, but you probably know them by their much cooler name, the terror birds. I mean, it's a pretty wild thought, right? Usually when you think of top predators, you're picturing mammals. Big cats, bears, that kind of thing. But for tens of millions of years, on a whole continent, a bird was the undisputed king. So how on earth did that happen? Well, let's get into it. Okay, so our story kicks off in a South America that was totally different from the one we know today. It was a place where evolution went down a really fascinating path, and that's what led to the rise of these incredible birds. So what exactly are we talking about with these Forus racidae? Let's be clear, these weren't just giant, grumpy ostriches. No way. This was a whole family of carnivores. And for millions and millions of years, they were sitting right at the very top of the South American food chain. And to really get how they rose to power, you have to understand where they lived. For almost 60 million years, South America was basically this giant, isolated island continent. Think of it like a massive evolutionary laboratory, completely cut off from everything else. There were no saber-toothed cats, no giant bears, none of the usual mammalian suspects. This created a huge power vacuum at the top, and you know what? These birds stepped right up to fill it. So the big question is, how does a bird become an apex predator? Well, it all boiled down to a toolkit of terrifyingly effective anatomy. These things were, and I mean this literally, built for domination. Okay, let's just start with the sheer size of these things. The biggest ones, species like Kelenken, could stand up to 3 meters tall. That's almost 10 feet. Think about that. A predator that could look an average person right in the eye, or more likely look down on them. Just, wow, absolutely intimidating. But hey, it wasn't just about being big. The real secret weapon, it was the skull. You see, modern birds have light, flexible skulls. The terror bird skull was the complete opposite. It was what we call akinetic, which basically means it was rigid, it was fused, and it was built like a freaking battering ram. This thing wasn't designed for delicate pecking, it was designed for one thing: immense, bone-shattering impact. So just imagine this combination, right? You've got this massive hooked beak, like a giant eagle's, bolted onto that battering ram's skull. You've got these incredibly powerful legs built for a high-speed chase. And to top it off, huge, sharp talons for grabbing and holding on. It was the whole shebang, the complete predator package. So you've got the hardware. But how did they actually use it? Well, paleontologists have pieced together a hunting strategy that is, frankly, as fascinating as it is brutal. It looks like the hunt was just a masterclass in brutal efficiency. First up, the chase, a terrifying, high-speed pursuit on those powerful legs. Once they got close enough, they might just kick out and knock their target off balance. And then came the final move, a single, devastatingly precise downward strike with that beak. After that, they just stepped back strategically to stay safe while their prey went down. Yeah, the best way to think about it is like a boxer. This wasn't some messy, drawn-out fight. It was a calculated, efficient takedown. Jab and retreat. They deliver that killer blow and then just step back, let their victim weaken from a safe distance. For what seems like just a brute force predator, that's a surprisingly smart way to hunt. And that beak strike, really, the only thing you can compare to is a hatchet. Imagine those huge neck muscles just driving that sharp, hooked beak downward with incredible force. They were probably aiming right for the skull or the spine, trying to cause massive, catastrophic damage in a single, fatal blow. And for millions of years, the terror birds were totally unmatched. They ruled their kingdom. But their isolation, the very thing that made them so successful, wasn't going to last forever. A huge geological event was on the horizon, and it was about to change absolutely everything. You have to remember, for all this time, South America was an island. But the Earth's surface is always moving, always changing. Tectonic forces were slowly, inch by inch, pushing the continents closer. And then, around 3 million years ago, the Isthmus of Panama finally rose up out of the sea. Just like that, a land bridge was formed. The door to their isolated fortress was suddenly kicked wide open.
This event has a name. It's called the Great American Biotic Interchange. And it was, no exaggeration, one of the biggest ecological shakeups in the last 65 million years. You had all these animals that had evolved in total isolation for ages, suddenly coming face to face for the very first time.
And for the terror birds, well, this interchange was a complete catastrophe. Their long reign as the top dogs was about to face its biggest test yet. And spoiler alert, it was going to be its end. Coming down from the north was this new wave of seriously advanced mammal predators. We're talking saber-toothed cats like Smilodon, huge bears, packs of direwolves, the works. And they weren't just new competition for food. They brought totally new ways of hunting with them, things like coordinated pack hunting and sneaky ambushes. These were tactics the terror birds had simply never, ever had to deal with before. And when they came up against these new, hyper-efficient hunters, the terror birds' old strategy, the open field chase and the single big strike, it just wasn't enough anymore. And so, in what's really a blink of an eye in geological time, after almost 60 million years of total dominance, their empire just crumbled. Their time was up. And that leaves us with a really fascinating what if, doesn't it? If that little strip of land, the Isthmus of Panama, had never formed, could these incredible predators have survived? Is it possible that South America could still be the land of the terror birds today? It's just a powerful reminder, Sometimes the fate of the most powerful creatures on the planet comes down to nothing more than a simple, random accident of geology.